As an ex-smoker, I'm happy never to smell it again.
But the reality of it is that kids start smoking way younger than even 18.
Lights out for young smokers. California becomes the second state in the nation to raise its smoking age. Plus, the new ban aimed at snuffing out underage vaping. A new milestone for voters in Chula Vista. They're poised to elect their city council members by district for the first time ever. The issues that are bringing the community together. And the group who's helping women build homes and communities in Imperial Beach. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kenny Goldberg. A conservative speaker who helped spark a free speech debate at San Diego State will address students tonight. Flyers connected to the David Horowitz event sparked a protest last week. That's when students blocked a police car carrying the university president. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson is outside the building where Horowitz will make his presentation.
We are standing inside the San Diego State University Student Union. If you look down this little aisleway, you'll see a couple of red-shirted private security guards. They're here to make sure that there are no issues when David Horowitz is speaking later on this evening. The issue here really centered around some flyers that were distributed on campus in advance of this speaking event. Those flyers identified certain students on campus as terrorists or allies of terrorist organizations. It raised concern among the student Muslim groups who brought those concerns to the president, and they were not happy with the response from San Diego State University President Elliot Hirschman. It led to a point where they were outside of an event where Hirschman was. They cornered him when he left that event. He ended up being in a police car for about an hour and a half, and then tried to argue with some of the students outside of that event later. There was a meeting earlier this week, about 2.5 hours, with the president, key student leaders. A statement was issued, but the student groups were not happy with the results of that statement. They didn't think it was far enough. They were looking for condemnation of the flyers that identified those students. And what that led to yesterday was a call for San Diego State University President Elliot Hirschman's resignation. Whether or not that happens, of course, we'll see as it goes down the road. But the concern here tonight at the student union is whether or not there is going to be any kind of a protest here at all. San Diego State University have extra police in the area in addition to the private security guards. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
It'll soon be a lot harder for young people to get their hands on tobacco in any form. New sets of smoking policies have become law in California. KPBS video journalist Katie Shulov asked San Diegans what they think.
California will become the second state to raise the legal age for buying tobacco, for smoking, vaping, or chewing, to 21. Governor Jerry Brown signed the legislation Wednesday, along with a bill allowing the state to regulate e-cigarettes like other tobacco products. I asked San Diegans what they think of the new age limit.
As an ex-smoker, I'm happy never to smell it again, so I don't have a problem with it. It's too bad that you have to approach it legally to get people to stop. I think they need more help than anything.
You're going to have a lot of guys, young guys, paying older guys to get the tobacco for them in the streets like it's beer, you know?
I'm 19 years old, and I know how bad smoking is, and I'm glad that they switched it to 21, and hopefully it makes a change.
Well, I think it's a noble attempt to delay bad habit, but the reality of it is that kids start smoking way younger than even 18.
What about the people who are already above the age of 18 and they've been already buying these tobacco products freely as they want? Like, that restricts their ability to do what they've already been doing.
Well, I don't think it'll really make much difference. I don't think smoking's a good thing for anybody to do, but I think moving the age up isn't going to stop anybody from smoking. When a kid's 18 years old, if he wants to smoke, he's going to smoke.
And today, the Food and Drug Administration banned nationwide sales of e-cigarettes, cigars, and hookah tobacco to anyone under 18. E-cigarettes must also provide a list of ingredients and place health warnings on packaging and ads. Both new sets of smoking regulations go into effect in 90 days. Katie Shulev, KPBS News.
3 more deaths have been linked to tainted medical scopes made by Olympus Corporation. The Los Angeles Times says 3 patients suffered a lethal blood infection last year after doctors at a Pasadena hospital treated them with the scopes. The paper got that information from a report Olympus sent to the FDA. The scopes are lightweight tubes that are passed through the mouth into the small intestine. FDA officials say as many as 350 patients worldwide may have been infected by the tainted scopes. When Sharp Grossmont Hospital noticed anesthesia drugs missing from its operating room a few years back, it launched a year-long surveillance operation to catch the culprits. Now, an attorney for an accused doctor says patient privacy was severely compromised during that investigation. Joining us with more on this story is Cheryl Clark with KPBS partner iNewsSource. Cheryl, how was this investigation conducted?
Well, Kenny, back in 2012, Sharp Grossmont noticed some dangerous drugs like propofol were missing from the surgical carts in its Women's Health Center operating room. So in July, they embedded tiny cameras that monitored those drug carts. And over the next 12 months, the cameras captured thousands and thousands of video clips, many showing patients undergoing surgery. And of course, this raises major questions about patient privacy. Here's Dwayne Edmeyer, an attorney representing a doctor who is implicated in some of those video clips.
Well, what we discovered, if you gave birth at Sharp Grossmont Hospital in their Women's Center between July 17th of 2012 and through the end of June of 2013, that year's period, you were being secretly videotaped during those procedures.
It's hard to know how many patients were affected, but Edmeyer is willing to speculate.
Hundreds and hundreds of patients, essentially every patient that had a surgery or that had their baby delivered via C-section or had tubal ligation during that time from July of 2012 to June of 2013 would have had their images taken at some point.
You can see the details in a whole bunch of legal documents filed by Sharp that are now on our website. And in them, Sharp acknowledges that some of the videos show patients, and I'm quoting here, under anesthesia, exposed, and in their most vulnerable state.
Did the videos catch who was taking the drugs?
Well, attorney Edmeyer represents former Grossmont anesthesiologist Dr. Adam Dorn, who faces an accusation from the state medical board because those documents say several video clips show Dorn putting vials of propofol in his pocket. But here's the thing. Edmeyer said other clips show Dorn replacing the drugs or using them on patients. Propofol was in short supply at the time, so nationally, doctors sometimes took it for emergencies. Edmeyer said those videos show other doctors removing drugs just like Dorn did. So Edmeyer wants all those clips, and Sharp is fighting against that.
Well, what does Sharp have to say about all of this?
Well, Sharp wouldn't give me an interview, but they did issue a statement, and they said, and I quote, "While images of patients were occasionally recorded, the focus of the investigation was on times the operating rooms were not being used for patient care." Sharp also said it has no intention of releasing the videos of these patients.
Well, thanks for joining us, iNewsSource reporter Cheryl Clark.
Thank you.
You can find more on that story, including links to legal documents at iNewsSource.org. The state Senate today unanimously approved a bill that would limit the liability of first responders if they damage a drone while responding to an emergency. Drones have interfered with crews battling California wildfires. Helicopters battling a fire in the Cajon Pass last summer had to be grounded because of a drone in the area. The authors of the measure say firefighters shouldn't have to worry about being sued for smashing a drone that prevents them from doing their jobs. For the first time ever, voters in Chula Vista will elect their city council members by district. 4 men, all of Mexican backgrounds, are competing for the District 4 seat representing Southwest Chula Vista. KPBS reporter Jean Guerrero spoke with voters and the candidates.
Residents of Southwest Chula Vista say it's the most neglected part of the city. They think district elections will finally bring better infrastructure and solutions to rising homelessness. Candidates must now reside in the district they hope to represent. Resident Michael Foster says he's optimistic about what this means for his community. He says he often takes his children to play in the parks and finds them filthy.
We've found numerous objects, needles, baggies, and things like this in the playground.
He says he wants a candidate who's going to clean up the parks and help the homeless, who often loiter nearby as he plays with his son.
We need a place for these folks to go at night. We need them to have a place they can shower and a place to go to.
All the candidates say they're familiar with the issues and plan to address them because they live here.
This is my home. This is where I raised my family. And I've also had the experience of being on the council and understanding how municipal government works.
That's Rudy Ramirez, who served on city council for 2 consecutive terms and works in metal fabrication. He says he plans to appoint a full-time administrator accountable to the city manager to address homelessness.
We need to have a more systematic approach to dealing with this problem and managing it.
He says his years of activism for the community make him the best candidate, citing significant improvements to sidewalks when he was a councilman. Some of his supporters recently met outside city council to protest the campaign of another candidate, Eduardo Reyes, who moved here from Eastlake about 9 months ago.
When you just move in somewhere for the first couple of days, you're not going to be aware of what's happening in that community. You're not going to represent that community's best interest. You're still going to be thinking of where you're coming from.
Reyes says he thinks it's Ramirez who doesn't support the community.
He had a chance. He had a chance to serve the community, to make changes, to make a difference. And he didn't do it.
Reyes says he moved to this part of town after separating from his wife because he lived and worked here for about 15 years and feels most comfortable here.
The bottom line is, I'm not interested in dirty politics. I'm not interested in gossip. I'm not interested in defending false accusations. I'm interested in serving this community.
Chula Vista does not require candidates to have lived in the district for a certain amount of time. They just have to be registered voters in the district when they file their nomination papers. Reyes says he plans to push for more parks and other public spaces where families can feel safe.
This is an example of what I would like to see more of.
Reyes is the principal of Bonita Vista Middle and president of the Chula Vista Elementary School Board. He says his background in education makes him the best candidate because he knows the needs of young people and their families. Like the other candidates, he says the city needs to support local business so residents don't have to go to San Diego and elsewhere for jobs.
If you look at the freeway in the morning, it's pretty much almost at a standstill going north, and coming south, it's, you can go 65 miles an hour.
Another candidate, Emmanuel Soto, also has an education background. He teaches music in the Chula Vista Elementary School District and serves on the Parks and Recreation Commission.
I think investing in education, investing in our children, is investing in the future of the city.
He says schools need more arts and after-school activities, such as those at this recreation center, to keep young people engaged in healthy activities. Soto says sidewalks, streets, and other infrastructure also need more work.
By having a good infrastructure, we could ensure that our community has accessibility across the city, and as well as it makes it a more attractive place for visitors as well.
So this is a banner that we would use like to hang on our side of a fire engine that we're going to be driving around.
Mike Diaz ran for city council in 2000, but was narrowly defeated. He's a retired Escondido firefighter who grew up in Chula Vista.
Put the paint on there. Get the next color.
He's creating all of his campaign materials on his own at the Maker Place, including T-shirts and banners.
I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. I'm not afraid of hard work. As a firefighter for over 30 years, I don't mind getting dirty in the trenches.
He says public safety is his priority.
I was out there serving my community for over 30 years, put my life on the line every day, and I want to continue that service to the Chula Vista community as a city council member.
The two candidates with the most votes in June will go to a runoff in November. Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.
Video journalist Chris Arciaga helped produce that story. The San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce has contributed $105,000 to help Encinitas Mayor Kristen Gaspar unseat County Supervisor Dave Roberts. The independent expenditure puts Republican Gaspar ahead of the other challenger, Escondido Mayor Sam Abed, in terms of money available for campaigning. Abed got the endorsement of the county's Republican Party and $25,000 of party support. Both candidates are hoping for a chance to beat Roberts, the lone Democrat on the county board, in November. Californians will elect a new U.S. Senator for the first time in 24 years as Senator Barbara Boxer retires. Orange County Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez is one of the candidates vying for that open seat. KQED political editor Scott Schaefer finds out what she hopes to bring to the job.
Congresswoman Sanchez, why are you the most qualified, best person to be the next U.S. Senator?
Well, there are three reasons, really, that I will be the next United States Senator for California. First are my life experiences. I believe that my family and I have lived the life of so many Californians. My parents came here with no money and no education. They had 7 children. They educated us. They sacrificed for us. My mom and dad are the only parents in the history of the United States to send 2 daughters to the United States Congress. I think that's the life story of the aspirations of what Californians want. Secondly, I have 20 years experience in the United States House of Representatives, doing the issues, knowing the people, taking the very tough votes when the pressure is on, like voting against the Iraq War when everybody was so quick to go in, against the Patriot Act when it took away our civil liberties. And third, I have 20 years of experience on military, homeland security, knowing the international players. None of the candidates in this election have the experiences I have.
You say your family experienced so many things that other Californians have gone through. What do you mean by that?
Well, for example, in the recession, this past recession that we had, 2 of my brothers, they had a very thriving business. It went under and they lost their homes. So what people have experienced in California, our family has experienced in California. My dad, he has Alzheimer's now for 20 years. Every family is going to be hit with that.
Hola, soy la congresista Loretta Sanchez.
You said that it's time for a Latina in the U.S. Senate. Why is that so important?
I think it's time for this Latina in the United States Senate. This Latina, by Congressional Quarterly, was named as one of the 25 most powerful women in the Congress, Republican or Democrat, House member or senator. And they said 2 things about me. 1, she knows how to frame the issues and debate and bring people to the table. And 2, she knows how to find the votes to pass laws. And so I think we need this Latina in the United States Senate.
You made some remarks recently about Muslim Americans that were very controversial. What was the point you were trying to make?
You're looking at the person who sat for 20 years on the Armed Services Committee, on Homeland Security Committee since the inception. One of the areas of my expertise is counterterrorism. And so when I said that there were a group of Muslims worldwide who are in favor of a caliphate, and some of them are sympathetic, I was talking about the need to get our American Muslim community to help us to figure out this whole issue of ISIS and this radicalization that we see happening, even sometimes here in the United States, like with the San Bernardino shooters. So it's really incumbent on us to work with our Muslim American community. That was the gist of of the comments that I made during that time.
Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez talking with KQED's political editor Scott Schaefer. Sanchez will join the stage with 4 other candidates next Tuesday for a debate at KPBS. It's part of our California Counts coverage. It will air live on May 10th at 7 p.m. here on KPBS. We'll take you behind the scenes of the debate. Check out our Facebook page around 6 for a live pre-show event. San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer has a seat on the region's transportation planning agency, known as SANDAG, but he rarely shows up to the agency's meetings. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen has more.
Mayor Faulconer cast an important vote last week at the board meeting of the San Diego Association of Governments. He voted to block a half-cent sales tax increase from going on the November ballot. The tax would generate about $18 billion to fund public transit, highways, and local infrastructure over the next 40 years. Friday's Sandag meeting was the first Faulkner had attended in more than 16 months. In fact, the mayor has showed up at just 7 out of 43 Sandag meetings since getting a seat on the board. That makes an attendance rate of 16%. I asked Faulkner to explain why. He said this.
As mayor of the city, I do a lot of great things. I have a representative on Sandag. Lori Zaff is my representative, who does a lot of great work, and she continues to do great work. Todd Gloria is the other city's representative. And my job as mayor is to make sure we're doing everything that we do to move this city forward on a daily basis, and that's exactly what I do.
Nicole Capritz of the Climate Action Campaign says she's glad the mayor voted against the tax increase because it wouldn't give enough money to public transit, but she acknowledges the mayor could have done more.
This is something we've been saying to the mayor's office for months now, that he has a regional voice that can make a positive impact in moving us in the right direction. Obviously, that hasn't worked thus far, but, better late than never is the way we see it.
County Supervisor and Sandag Board Chairman Ron Roberts took a jab in Faulkner's direction just before last week's vote. He hinted at the mayor's reputation for going to a lot of ribbon-cutting ceremonies.
I've been through these a couple of times, and I've noticed over the years that some of my colleagues who oppose these things want to be the first to have their photos taken when we open the improvements in their areas.
Now, the Sandag tax did move forward because Mayor Faulkner's no vote was in the minority. If it qualifies for the November ballot, it will need the approval of 2/3 of voters across the county to pass. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
About 100 women volunteers descended on Imperial Beach today to repair homes in the area. It was part of National Women Build Week, an event sponsored by San Diego Habitat for Humanity and Lowe's. It challenges women to devote a day to help improve housing in their local community.
Many families here can't afford to do the necessary improvements on their homes, and so that's what we're doing today, is helping them out with some weatherization projects, some critical home repair, and just trying to help families stay in their homes.
This is the 9th year for Habitat's National Women Build Week. 17,000 women volunteers nationwide are expected to help 650 families during this year's event. It seems the cloudy skies and cool winds are here to stay. Molly Cochran says a storm system will be hitting San Diego overnight. That's tonight in the KPBS Weather Report.
Well, we're stuck in an unsettled weather pattern across the West Coast, and we can clearly see this across our satellite and radar. Take a good look. We see the shades of green and also the white indicating some clouds and some showers that even include San Diego County. Now, I want to briefly point out that we can kind of notice offshore these clouds spiraling in a counterclockwise rotation. This is a key indicator that we have an area of low pressure nearby, and we surely do. We're just caught in what we like to call an omega type of pattern here, and that's when things just get all blocked up. These systems really don't have anywhere to go, so on the West Coast and the East Coast, just dealing with unsettled weather, and the nice weather found across the country's midsection, not so much across the Golden State. Now, over the last 6 hours, we've seen a few clouds catching a little bit of a break in the action. We'll start to notice a few showers offshore as we head into the evening hours, creeping inland. So for tonight, we will allow for a spotty shower and some cloud cover towards San Diego along the immediate coastline, also across the higher elevations towards Mount Laguna, with our overnight low coming in at 39 degrees. So definitely any type of rain going to be beneficial for the drought, but could potentially lead to a few delays. So as we head into Friday, still have this pretty big dip in the jet stream, sending in the cloud cover and the chance for showers and even some thunderstorms from San Francisco back towards San Diego County. So if you do have any upcoming travel plans, could be met with a few flight delays due to the low cloud ceilings, as well as some cooler air as we head into the upcoming weekend. So Friday along the immediate coastline, still going to be unsettled. A shower or thunderstorm still possible, 68 degrees for a daytime high. Then into Saturday, I think the morning hours we could still see some cloud cover and a spotty shower in some locations, but we will start to get a little bit better out there. Some sunshine back for Saturday afternoon at 67, upper 60s on Sunday, and that sunshine will return. Unfortunately, a little bit more cloud cover as we head into Monday. Pretty similar setup as we take a look at the interior sections, a shower or thunderstorm for Friday. And again, that chance for a thunderstorm still around on Saturday. Nice little break day coming up on Sunday. Partly sunny skies. Get out and enjoy it because the cloud cover returns for Monday and Tuesday. Across the mountains, better chance to see a shower, thunderstorm. Some of those storms, we are in the higher elevations. We could see some smaller sized hail. 46 for a daytime high, quite chilly, 49 on Saturday, and then we're in the upper 50s for Sunday. Across the desert, we'll be dealing with a thunderstorm for Friday, then back to some sunshine Saturday, but still a little bit on the cool side, back in the 80s by Sunday. Molly Cochran, KPBS News.
In our story yesterday about San Diego State University's president coming under fire, we said that a flyer that was distributed on campus advertised that a controversial speaker was coming to the SDSU campus. It did not mention the speaker. The kings of rock and Espanol are in the house. That's the White House. The Mexican rock band Maná performed in the White House to celebrate Cinco de Mayo today. The day marks Mexico's victory over France in the 19th century. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Well, thanks for joining us and have a great evening.